I'll give folks a minute to arrive. And once everyone has made it from the waiting room in, then we will go ahead and get started. Okay. So I think it has stopped for now, and I'm sure in my introduction, a few more people will join us. So depending on where you are joining us from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good very late evening. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar on Starving for Justice, Academic Freedom, and Human Rights in Thailand. My name is Carol Hoppercorn, and I'm a faculty member in Southeast Asian Studies at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. This webinar is being sponsored by the Justice in Southeast Asia Lab, or the JC Lab, generously funded by the Henry Luce Foundation, and the Article 112 Project, generously funded by the Anonymous Fund at UW-Madison. Founded in 2021, the JC Lab fosters intensive exchange among faculty, graduate students, and practitioners, and public-facing events that aim to foster significant collaboration among these people. The JC Lab reflects both the recognition that a growing number of MAs and PhDs in Southeast Asian studies are choosing to pursue professional careers outside the university, but more importantly, that there is a need for academic work and universities to be directly responsive to ongoing social justice crises in the region. Founded in 2023, the Article 112 Project is concerned with its namesake, Article 112 of the Thai Criminal Code, which defines the crime and stipulates the punishment for lèse majesty. Quote, whoever defames, insults, or threatens the king, queen, heir apparent, or the regent shall be punished with imprisonment of 3 to 15 years. Thailand has been a constitutional monarchy since the 24th of June, 1932, but the relationship of the monarchy to democracy has remained unclear, not least evidenced by the existence and use of this law. Over the past 20 years, the use and abuse of the law to suppress peaceful expression and silence discussion of crucial social and political questions in the Thai polity has risen at an alarming rate, with sentences reaching many decades. Despite the urgency of this rise and the analytic questions that it necessarily raises, scholarship has remained relatively spare, and the restriction of freedom of expression in Thailand remains unknown outside the country. I should say largely unknown. I shouldn't say completely unknown, largely unknown. There is the occasional international news article. The Article 112 Project responds to this lacuna by expanding scholarship and public engagement through research-led undergraduate and graduate teaching, translation of key documents, and collaboration with relevant US, Thai, and international scholars and non-governmental organizations through events such as this one. And I'll just flag now, in the first week of May, we'll have two webinars that will be focused on a series of small research projects about Article 112. Stay tuned for those. And actually also later in May, another event focused on academic freedom around the region. So stay tuned either through the emails that I send out, or we're on Facebook and Blue Sky. We are no longer on X for reasons that everyone can probably imagine. So to turn to today's event, many of you will be aware that the use of Article 112 to criminalize peaceful dissent has been on the rise since the 2006 coup, and that the number of cases has increased tremendously since the youth-led democracy movement in late 2020, with Thai lawyers for human rights reporting that there are at least 278 people being prosecuted in 311 cases. One of these is Siraphop Phumpuengphut, also known as Khanun, a master's degree student in political science who dreams of pursuing a PhD. During the 2020 protests for democracy, he spoke peacefully as part of an organized demonstration, and like many others, found himself facing an Article 112 case. 1 year ago today, by US days, because it's still the 25th here, or yesterday in Thailand, he was sentenced by the Court of First Instance to 2 years in prison. despite his case still being on appeal, so he's still waiting for an appeal court ruling, and then even after that, a Supreme Court ruling, he has been denied bail 16 times. In protest, on the 21st of February, he began a hunger strike calling for the unconditional release of all political prisoners and an end to the use of Article 112. He is the 19th political prisoner to go on hunger strike in Thailand since 2021. On the 14th of March, he was admitted to the hospital as the risk to his health and life became grave. And let me share a passage from an article about hunger strikes that he wrote in February before commencing his own. He wrote, quote, "What can we do when we are in a position circumscribed by state coercion? Here, the state refers to a structure that has been systematically established to the point of appearing seamless. This leads to a path to attempt to destroy the framework and certain choices in order to demand freedom or grand demands such as reform, which are not merely for oneself, but for the collective, for the nation. It is not selfish, but an attempt to secure what one wants. Hunger striking is therefore discussed as a way to utilize the tool that each of us always possesses, which is our life. No one wants to die or leave their families and loved ones. Everyone wishes to have the future that they imagine," unquote. Today, our three speakers will talk about Khanun and the broader context of student activism and academic freedom in Thailand. And so each of the speakers will speak, and then we'll have time for discussion. A few notes on process. So both Thai and English will be used in the seminar, but with English as the primary language. And so when Thai is used, I'll summarize in English. And so ในงานนี้ก็จะใช้ทั้งภาษาไทยกับภาษาอังกฤษแต่ก็จะใช้ภาษาอังกฤษเป็นหลักก็เลยตอนที่มีการคุยกันเป็นภาษาไทยเราก็จะสรุปเป็นภาษาอังกฤษ The second point is that in addition, we'll use the Q&A box for questions, and you can put your questions in there whenever you have them. So let me now just complete my introduction by handing the screen to Gitichai Phumpuengphut, who is an activist and friend of Khanun. So,
Hi there, everyone. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. I just want to tell that my internet is not stable and sometimes it could be lost because
Okay.
I think last few minutes ago I cannot hear your. I don't know if it's my problem or your problem, but I just want to let everyone know my internet is not stable.
No problem.
Okay. First of all, my name is Getichai Phumpuengphut. My nickname is Victor, but many one know me as Big. But I think Victor is easier to say. Okay. When we talk about Khanun, I think first we have been friends for 4 years, but we didn't talk much. All I know about him is from his movement. We can see in the news, in Facebook page, like Salaya Hun Pian. It's like his organization group. He's quite famous from there, but we didn't talk much. All I know from him is like he was detained for 4 days in 2021. I'm not sure about that, but I have known that he was in jail that time and he was released. But all the time that youth movement allowed 2020 or 21, I didn't talk to him. I have known him from the news, but I think it's weird. But so when we have known each other, when movement has been decreased or it can be described as fallen, allowed 2022 or 23, because in that time, many one fear that we will go to the jail if we continue our movement. So we talk together about if any alternate. Sorry, okay. Uh, we find an alternative way to make it safe for us to keep political discussion, especially in sensitive issue like the monarchy. So I and Khanun decided to make some club in university to talk about political issue, especially in academic way, because we have known that academic is safer to talk. But I'm not sure about that too right now because uh, we were harassed in university. Uh, the police come to see, come to oversee our activity. But 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 but, but is this like safer attached by any law from this activity? Uh, right now, Khanun is my club advisor, and we have a lot of activity together. Mm, I, I I think it's the only way to keep the political issue prolonged in society in that that we don't have protests, we don't have any activity because we fear that we will be detained. I forgot to tell you all that I'm also the one who was sued by Les, and yesterday I was sentenced 3 years, but it was, uh, but I don't know exact word, but I the process case was suspended, so I didn't go to jail from that way. But I just want to tell that we all fear. Uh, the the reason that I talk about this because like you I want you know I want you all know that uh we refrain from any movement after 2022 or 23. Uh, we didn't talk anything about political issue that is sensitive. So I felt really shocked about the detainment of Khanun because you know that uh, you can see in political context if you still keep talking, you will be detained. But if you quiet, you could be safe. But I don't understand anything about Khanun case. Uh, he refrained himself from politics. All he do is just writing an academic topic, talking about academic action. I have known that he have some expertise in Thai study and Myanmar study, and he was assistant for human rights lawyer organization. So I don't understand anything about this. Uh, I felt regret until now that I didn't join last activity of Khanun in Thailand. Before people will go to Judgment Day, we will have like some activity to talk with him to give him support. But that day I cannot go. I have another affair to do. So I feel regret until now that I cannot send my friend because he go to the jails because I think that he won't be he won't face any problem. Uh, I think he won't be to the jail because he refrained from politics for long time. Mm, so that's why I want to help Khanun as much as I can. That's why I join activity today because it is the only way that I can help my friend. Uh, in that time, he messaged me to go through, and I think there couldn't be any problem. So I won't go. I it's it's very it's very painful to talk about this, and uh so mm, right now I understand he was detained allowed 1 year from this nonsense. So I think he didn't have any way to do. So all his choice that he can do is hunger strike. I understand his point because he tried everything. He tried to get bail at least 14 times, which is very weird because like he he refrained from politics. He was just normal master degree student. He just normal master degree student. If he still have movement like the other group, I still understandable that he could be he could be detained. I didn't agree about detained, but like when we think about political context, it can be. But he keep quiet. He refrained anything, but he was detained. He tried to get bail at least 14 times, but it was all denied and don't have any good explanation. So there is only one choice that he can be get bail. He need to have hunger strike. So all I want to say is that we should we cannot tell him to stop because it's only way to make him out and he is the only choice. He have been waiting for a long time, too long time. It's, he he it doesn't have any problem to detain him. He was just normal master degree student and as Professor Tyler has he want to finish my PhD. He have a lot of potential. I have read a lot of article from him, and it shows that he have some good basic knowledge. Many topics. We talk a lot about Thai political problem, Myanmar political problem, and political comparative between each country. I think if he can go out, he will have a lot great contribution to Thai at the world. He he connect with many international organizations that contribute to human rights promotion. So there is no any reason to keep him in the jail. I just want to express that he should have the right to continue his study. He was one of the great students that I have seen, and international human rights promotion lose one of prominent students who can make a contribution to the world. So all I want to speak is that free Khanun, let him out. He he isn't threat anymore. He's stopped, and all he will do is like keep studying until he graduates from master degree, just like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for telling us about Khanun and the context of the movement of which he was a part, and uh, and in a sense the sorrow of what has happened. Let me now hand the floor to Pandit Chandratanakit, who is a faculty member in political science at Chulalongkorn University. The screen is yours.
Thank you, Professor Haberkan. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. Yes, I like to share how I met Khanun. He is a really fine, fine gentleman who comes to Chulalongkorn University very often to join and attend academic activities, and including all the political related as an observer, not like an active member before, but once during the youth uprising, he stood up and became the forefront of student movement. As a result, he was charged, and I don't know whether all of us realize that today is a 1 year that he has been detained, and I think it's like really heartbreaking to see all the things that has come to him. I have met him, as I said earlier, from time to time to attend academic activities, and as an observer, he always come to me to ask questions, and he's really interesting person to see and to talk with, and after all, I think he would make a really good academic in the future if he has that chance. And unfortunately, up until now, his future still remain unclear because of the situation that we all realize that why we all have questions. Why Khanun? Why this fine gentleman has been detained? Because his case is only one case in compare with other youth leader during the youth uprising. It's just one case. And I have come to realize maybe because he's the weakest one among the youth leaders, he has not so many connections as other student leaders have. In this sense, maybe he was picked up to be the one as a showcase that no one could ever violate that course. And as a result, there's no reason that his request for bail always been denied more than 14 times already. And of course, we all know that Khanun is not only the one who come to academic seminar. He always wanted to have more. That's why he attended the faculty of political science at Thammasat as a master degree student, and I really admire him. I thought that he could be the one that come up to the front in terms of political movement studies and civil society movements and the uprising. He always keen to hear more about situation in Myanmar and the broader issues. So I have no doubt that he is qualified to be a good academic in the future. So I really skeptic why the court has not allowed him to be free. And you know, as a result that he started a hunger strike, I think I'm really sorry that we cannot do much more than this. The one I always remember about Khanun is that once I made academic not conference, it's a training program associated with May 18 Foundation from Gwangju, South Korea. I was back then the director of the project, and Khanun simply volunteered himself to be a part of, you know, the labor, and he did whatever things in need. You know, he always give his hand back then. So I think has a very good mind, has a volunteer spirit to join anything. So this is the very important capacity for this 5 young men. So after all, after he was jailed for many months, I received a letter from Khanun and saying that, oh, how are you, professor? I want to see you. I want to talk to you, and I want to study. And then he mentioned Gwangju, South Korea, and he said he really wanted to go. So I said to him, I visited him once and saying that, okay, Khanun, once things is clear and you are out, probably we can go to Gwangju together. And hearing from that cross, you see, that day I started the project called Letters for Hope. I asked my friends in Korea to write him a letter, or anyone who was in jail during the Korean democratization back in 70s or 80s, and send that letter to me, and then I translate into both Thai and English versions in order to support Khanun in jail, in the sense that I think it's really important to have a moral support in jail. And as a result, I got some letters from friends and activists from Korea. And unfortunately, the Korean democracy has resisted as well. Then came, you know, the Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law crisis. So all the activities related to international democratization movement has been seized. So I'm waiting to talk to my Korean friends and international friends to reinitiate the project Letters for Hope again. So I think this is a very small contribution I can make for Khanun, and hopefully his condition in the hospital will be better. The last 2 weeks, I met some friends. I heard of his situation. We all know that after a hunger strike, all the body will be deteriorated. You know, it's not easily to come back to a normal state, even though he was in hospital. So I'm not sure what's coming up, but I only hope that he can make it through, and our support from here and, you know, everywhere from the world will be a voice sent to courts, sent to people who has a capacity to help Khanun out of this situation. Yeah, that's all, อาจารย์ Tyrell ครับ
Thank you so much, Ajahn Pandit. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing how you know Khanun, and also the solidarity actions that you have been part of with colleagues and friends in South Korea. Let me now hand the screen to the final speaker, Benjarat Setua, who is faculty at Mahidol University and also coordinator of the Southeast Asian Coalition on Academic Freedom. The screen is yours.
Thank you, Terrell. When I like to, I'm not talking about Khanun. I don't know him personally, but I like to talk more on from Khanun case and how does that reflect the situation of academic freedom and freedom of expression and civil and political rights in Thailand in general. And when I prepare for this, I was thinking of a hunger strike, and I just realized that 2 years and 1 month ago, I gave a talk in a similar panel on a hunger strike of 2 other political activists, Bam and Tawan. And so like this is what we have been living with in the last 2, 3, 4 years with the rise of the youth political activists. We may talk about Khanun today, or we talk about Bung, another political activist who passed away during her hunger strike, or Bam or Tawan on the other days. But what I want to highlight today is that Khanun case is the emblematic case of the situation of civil and political rights in the country. And as Terrell mentioned earlier, this what's happening, what's going on in Thailand may not be known broadly internationally, but I also have to say that this is not even known broadly among the Thai public, and that's very concerning. So if we look 2 issues that I like to highlight, one is on looking at hunger strike as strategy to expose injustice and then reflect on academic freedom and political activism. If we talk about hunger strike and try to see whether that works in the Thai context, as you know, hunger strike has been used by during many political movements to expose as one important means of non-violent political activities in order to expose just injustice, in order to draw sympathies from the public, in order to expose to bring about change by sacrificing the well-being of the protester. And as we in Thailand, hunger strike has been used more frequently by the political detainees, political prisoners who are prosecuted for their involvement in the demand of democracy. And almost all of them are youth activists. As reported by the Thai Lawyer for Human Rights, at least 19 political prisoners had staged 24 hunger strikes. Some of them strike a number of times, not only once, since 2021. Most did the hunger strike for more than 50 days, and also like between 30 to 50 days mostly. And one of them, Bung Netiporn, passed away during her 109 days hunger strike. This shows not only that they are living with injustice, but they are also willing to do something in order to protest against, most of them, they protest against the fact that they are refused, they are denied bail during the trial of their case. So all of this, they were detained before the final decision of the court. So they are like, and some of them were detained even like pre-trial detention, and they were denied bail again and again, as we heard, especially on Khanun case. Most of these hunger strikes are done by not so well-known activists. And as I said, we may not know about them at all if you don't really follow the political news of Thailand. And sadly to say, most of them went unnoticed and could not draw much public attention. And worse, when they are criticized or they create stir debates among, not only among the public, but also among the activists, whether this is the best means to fight, because as we heard, Bung Netiporn passed away during this act of protest because it's very has a long-term impact on your health issue. The general public may criticize the activists for pressuring the court, whether the court would have to give bail all the time if you demand, if you pressure the court this way. But what I think what it shows here is we rarely go back and look at the root cause why these political activists have to come out and decided, as Gatichai mentioned, this is like the last resort of many of these political activists, because the very simple basic rights to get bail during their political case were denied. And if we go look back even further, because their freedom of expression are violated, because they talk about something that the Thai society do not want to hear. So I like to move to my other topic, which is why this case, Khanun case, is a reflection of academic freedom in Thailand. If we look at the political prisoner in Thailand at the moment, now more than half of the current 46 people detained for their political activism are those charged with lèse-majesté or defamation of the king, of the monarchy. No, not even the king now, because the way it is interpreted now is include almost everyone in the monarchy, in the institution, not only the king. Some of them did something that are deemed degrading or defaming of the monarchy during the demonstration. For example, posting stickers on the photo or photos on top of the king's photo, which are displayed almost everywhere in Bangkok street. Or they were charged for taking selfies with the king photo while holding movement placards talking about political cause. Some are sentenced to many years in prison for their social media posts or for their engagement in click like in social media posts that criticize the role of the monarchy. And if we look at the academics who engage, luckily none like academic, like those researcher or lecturers who talk about the role of the monarchy, they may face legal persecution. None of them are in prison yet. Or it could be may say that being an academic has certain role, certain status in the society. And if there's some case or legal persecution against them, there may be some movement or reaction from the wider community. But we also need to realize that even during political protests, many of the political activists, they gave a speech really based on academic research and academic knowledge. I attended one of the protests. I joined one of the demonstrations where Sopon, another political activist who are now also in prison, talks about the death of Prajao Tak, from the previous ride before Chakri dynasty. And it was very, very academic. He was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment for his talk. So what all this means? Although I think when we talk about academic freedom, it is really a political issue. It is not something preserved for those on the ivory tower. It is not something for someone who is so sweet, so nice, and that doesn't look too aggressive like Khanun. But it is something that we need to insist that it is applied to broader and not just to someone. Right? And we have heard from Gatichai that I'm lucky that even he was sentenced yesterday, not everyone is in prison. And as we hear from Gatichai and Jambandit, that people wonder why Khanun, because it was his only one time that he talked about the monarchy during his political speech. He gave other political talk during demonstration, not addressing the monarchy, but other social issues, but it is only one time. Just one speech before the day that the then Prime Minister announced that they will persecute everyone with let me just say, after certain years of suspension of the use of the law. Other activists may get bail. Khanun is denied bail. Probably this is just to set an example to other political activists in the countries. We heard from Ketichai that many activists decided to refrain from movement in mass mobilization. We know for the fact that many activists had to appear in court almost every day because they face many trump-up charges for their political activism. We know some of the key activists go into exile. And as a result, we are living in a country where people are very, very careful to make any public comment in relation to the monarchy. So how can we, how can we keep this very limited space alive to discuss about political issues, to ask critical questions? That's what we need to keep the stronghold of this space together. I'd like to end with a letter from Khanun. I wrote him a couple of letters. Luckily, they have a system where you can type of email to the prisoner. And he wrote back to me in November 24 last year. That says, I still hope for freedom throughout these 245 days. It was 245 days back then he was counting. It is a long and violent time. This is what the state done to those who are different from the expected role of the citizen, regardless of their cause and their intention. I hope for a better society, a future that is determined by our own hands, but we are simply just unjustly imprisoned. And yeah, we're talking about Khanun today. We may be talking about other political prisoners and another days. But what we need to keep talking about is questioning the power and expanding our space to talk and ask difficult questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajahn Ben. What I want to do now is invite folks who are listening to put your questions into the Q&A. Of course, if panelists have questions for each other, you have, in a sense, the very special power of being able to jump the question queue. But while we're waiting for people to put questions into the Q&A box, I have a question, which is that I was very, I just want to just say thank you again to Ketichai, to Ajahn Bandit, to Ajahn Ben for all of your really urgent perspectives. And I would just say I feel very both. For me, I think there's both a really significant analytic question and political question, but I would just also say, just as human, I felt very moved, and I just wanted to register that. But the question that I'm really struck by is Ajahn Ben's question of how can we keep the very limited space alive? And also, I think I would add to it the question that motivated the organizing of this seminar, that motivates so many things that I've thought about over the past couple of years, which is also how to ensure that people who are imprisoned are not forgotten. Like, it strikes me that it is a constant daily kind of action that's needed. So what can be done to keep the limited space, to speak, to remember alive? Any ideas?
Because I asked that question, so I can answer. Maybe Ajahn Bandit. I'm not sure. I don't have the answer, but again, I'm thinking a lot about hunger strike, why it doesn't work in the Thai context. I mean, as I said, hunger strike is one of the key political means of nonviolent political action, right, and movement. And it will only work when they can draw sympathy from the people to understand their cause. But I don't think it really works in the Thai context. It's only limited people who are like only those who already share the cause with the political activists, but not the public at large. And I think this may really need, we need to look at very deep root Thai political culture or the issue that the people are concerned. Like we would see people's reaction when a dog was hit, or like people share more feeling or concern or care more on other issues, but not this kind of political issues. Partly because, I guess, because they are about they are working at questioning the monarchy or the political system, and something that the public do not share common view with. So how can we keep this alive and these are not forgotten? And as an individual or as someone who have a little bit position in status in the Thai society, I just think we will need to keep talking about them. I think the Ajahn Bandit's activity to urging the people to write a letter to them, that is one thing that we can do. But maybe that's, we need to enlarge those activities to get broader support. And we just have to keep talking about all these issues.
Can I jump in? I think, yes, talking about hunger strike as a means for calling for justice and right to bail, I think is very important, and maybe Ajahn Ben point it to the very important, very core of the idea of what is good for non-violent action, right? And what is good for movements, not only student movement, but also for even the people who are in grief and suffering. For example, the Assembly of the Poor, it has been observed that many years we have to come up with numbers of people. One man action cannot move people. One person cannot be an agent of change. I think it's very important to talk about this, and also since the last two elections, we have seen also, the majority in the parliament cannot found a government of the people. That means the voice of minorities in Thailand has been denied twice already. And if we observe the meeting in the last 2 days, including this morning, there's gonna be a vote of no confidence. We can observe that even in the parliament, we cannot talk about the monarchy openly and respectfully. With respect, we cannot even talk about the monarchy. This is very important, and we have seen the ideas of self-censorships among parliamentary members, which is very interesting, because I observed one MP yesterday. He actually didn't touch the monarchy in a very negative way, but on the contrary, his speech is meant to protect the monarchy by not allowing anyone who take the monarchy as a highness, right? I think it's really important to point out this issue. But again, he was opposed, he was objected by the chairman, the speaker even. So talking about the monarchy is kind of taboo. And of course, we all know that there must be another way around to talk about the monarchy, talk about the possibility of change in Thai society as well as a whole. And I think as a result, we have to reconsider what is good, in terms of a means, a measurement for non-violent action, and to call for attention into this issue. And I hope that there are some innovation. We all know that this is not possible to talk about these matters at this moment, but still we have to voice, little by little. I think the voice will be louder. That's what I hope lately. Yes.
Okay. For me, I think that I have observed a lot of movement in internet, and right now it was obstructed by political conflict between each party. So political prisoner was raided in in the mainstream in the mainstream discussion in online. And I think how we can do more is like we need to connect this thing together with party political conflict. Like, because I have observed a lot of voters that I have posted. If you connect them with some mainstream problem, it can be more popular one. So, so I think all we can do is just to point. First thing is we need to keep talking, but secondly, we need to understand like algorithms and also like about what people need to hear and how we can connect the political prisoner context with that way. And I think it should be better to make people interested about this topic.
Thank you all so much for this series of reflections and on the challenges, and then also suggestions on how to do so. Some of the questions that have come in, I want to share. The first one, I'm not sure what the latest news, what the news is, but from Jongwoo Lee, asking, what is the latest news of Khanun's health condition? Does anybody have, maybe does Ajahn Bandit or Giti Chai have the most recent news on Khanun's condition?
Lately, I think he's, of course, I hope that there are a medical and a process, that when you have been in a hunger strike and you want to come back to a normal state, you have to get through many processes as well. You cannot immediately come back and eat ordinary food, ordinary cuisine. You just wait for a couple more days, and that's already severe for his body in the long term. However, I think he is closely monitored by the medical the doctors at Thammasat University Hospital closely. I think this is what I heard so far, and I wish him the best, even though we don't really know. I think because it's really hard time for his family as well. And I hope that he can come back to a very normal state as he were.
Thank you so much. The next question, and this one, I don't know if any of us will know the answer to it. But from Fuadi Pitsuan asking, how much did the university's central administration step in to help with the case? And then also, did individual professors who helped and advocated for Khanun face any persecution from either central university administration or state officials?
Thank you, Fuadi, for your questions. I like to share a bit because to be honest, I only heard that Khanun attended Thammasat University as a master degree student, and probably I'm not quite sure about his status. He's still a student over there, or he was discharged from the program. I'm not quite sure, but I have heard that his friends at Mahavidyalai Sri Nakarin Virod University visited him from time to time, and the student union over there called for his bail and the rights to bail as well. And his former professor at Mosawar visited him from time to time. That's what I heard. But I'm not quite sure about his status with Thammasat University. And of course, we all realize that all the university administration somehow refrain from touching these matters as well. Only some professors that brave enough to stand forward, step forward and stand in the front row. And I think it's not a very good time for us as well.
Okay. All I have just noticed that Khanun status student has been suspended by himself before he will go to the jail. So I'm not sure that current status how it's going to be, but mostly it has been suspended by himself, so he can go back to be a student as soon as possible if he get bail. And when it's come to university, we have changed the university dean, and his political stand is not support any movement, so it could be harder when compared to previous one. But normally, Thammasat University didn't do anything for their students. Just like that.
Yeah, I also like to respond, maybe not from Khanun case, but from other experience of academic who have been supporting student or youth activism, including those who come out and speak for their students who are persecuted or imprisoned. I think it depends on university administration, one administration to another, how much they like to intervene. As long as you do not do like the administration may support or may provide some assistance, for example, to allow the detained student to take an exam, to facilitate the exam to be taken place during imprisonment or so on. But depends on how you can negotiate with your university. But whether they are going to do more than that to come out and speak up and defend their student, I think we haven't really seen that. It is more the act of individual lecturers, individual academics who do that not because they are academic or they are the activist teacher, but because they are like activist scholars who engage in the pro-democracy movement themselves. And if they are being threatened by the university administration, It is not only because they support the student, but because of their own political activism. And again, it varies, depend on different university administration. Some university may just do not do anything unless you do something that really affect the publicity of the universities, but or some university may try to stop you from the very beginning. So that varies.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. I feel like that is a topic. The events of the last 2 weeks in the United States, we could have a very similar, we could have a very good comparative discussion on the different ways in which universities are quite willing to watch the violation of the rights of students take place. There's a variety of ways in which they are doing so. The next question from New Trung, which is, to what extent is the line between activism or mobilization and strictly academic research clearly drawn and made legible in Thailand in the current moment? So really, this one I don't know how to answer.
Oh, I really like this question, and thank you, New Trung. I think okay, maybe we can answer in two different ways. One is academic freedom. I think it's guaranteed in the Thai constitution, and many universities come up and announce their academic freedom policy, which is positive thing, right? But I'm not sure why partly because that's part of to have an academic freedom policy is part of one of the many criteria on quality assurance of the university. So they can tick one box, right? Issue an announcement, and you can check many universities have that policy announced in the last couple of years, because that when we apply the quality assurance framework. But that's one thing. So, but it's, as I mentioned earlier, that academic freedom is a very political issue, especially in the Thai context, because you may be free to talk about research and talk about many things, but if it is a political issue, you would be your rights to speak out would be very limited. I think the case of the recent publication of the book by Ajahn Phuongthong from Faculty of Political Science, Chulalongkorn University, which studied the role of the military in the national security issues, are a very good example of this, because that research talk about the institution that hold quite an extensive power in the Thai politics for throughout the Thai democratization period, the military. And that's why her academic freedom is limited. And partly, I guess, also because she also involved in movement, I would say she's part of the pro-democracy movement, because she doesn't only engage her role in the academic world and teaching and publishing, but she also engaged in political activism. So I think the line is not, in a way, it is clear in legal terms that you have rights to do research and to speak in the academic world if you do that academically. But in practice, because many academics are activist scholars, and that put them under spotlight by the authorities. And because they are academic scholars that study and talk about or ask critical questions about the elites, about the authorities, about social values, and that also put them at risk. So it's very difficult. The line is not that like strictly academic, and I also don't, and I don't think that we can talk about academic freedom as strictly academic matters without looking at the broader context of civil and political rights and freedom of expression in the society at large.
I like to jump in and share the idea. Last year, there was a draft of the royal decree Really long name. Can I say it in Thai just one sentence? It is ร่างพระราชกฤษฎีกาว่าด้วยหลักเกณฑ์การวิจัยและข้อกำหนดจริยธรรมการวิจัยซึ่งมีปัญหากับหลักศาสนาวัฒนธรรมประเพณีหรือศีลธรรมอันดีของประชาชนพศจุดThis is the very problematic draft of the royal decree. What is the royal decree? The royal decree is a law made by the government back at the moment. So the government, the current one, claims that it is because of the Royal Act on ethical measurements state that you have to have the royal decree made by the government in order to regulate all the activities, all the academic and research activities that has some conflicts with the religious rules, culture, traditions, and the moral of the Thai society. This is the very problem that coming lately after all the measurements on the ethical issues other than human subject, right? I think is the problem of the obsessions in ethical issues. As an academic, if you want to initiate a project, a research project, you have to apply for the human subject committee. And it's like ping pong, you have to serve with 10 documents at least to the committee, and then they will review. At least 3 reviewers will read thoroughly on your proposal and details and research question, and then they will allow you, certify you to conduct your research for 1 year. That's one thing. And many researchers and academics found that this is the very problematic process, because some reviewers not only review the ethical measurement when you work with the people, but step on the very heart of the academic journey of every researcher. Just for example, touch on the issue of research question, touch on the research methodology, and state that you have to do this and that, have people sign the form for you, blah, blah, blah. This is too much and outraging, because ethical measurements was mean actually for the people in the medical science that has tested their medical things on the people, right? But we are humanities and social science scientists. We all conduct our research mostly with papers, with books, and of course we do interviews sometimes, but we already protect our informant persons. However, this is the very first step of the very that's what I said, how I call it as the complex of Thai ethical issues. And the draft of the royal decree came after. This is the very problem as well, because this will have a kind of academic board to monitor and oversight all the academic activities and research. If that academic activities and research object or touch the nerves of Thai culture, Thai religion related issues, and all the things related to so-called Silatham Andi of this society, that research will be seized, or probably, goes to a kind of law that, lead to a punishment later. So I think this is something that coming up, but luckily we oppose it, and there are still in review. So the draft of this royal decree is still on the review, and we may have a couple months to wait and see, after all the protests that we made and of course we have some active friends. We can talk about this later. I think I'm not the one who can talk about this much, but Professor Kanokrat Lerchusgun is the one who initiate the campaign, and also some other friends like Professor Anuson Unno at Thammasat University. Both of them are really active in these issues. Maybe Professor Tyrell can do it later. Yeah, that's all I know.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think the line is so blurry. I'm so struck also, there's so much, we could have a very long discussion about what constitutes, who gets to decide what is Sila Tham Andi, what is good morals. And yeah, just the question of who gets to decide what is Sila Tham Andi, or what is, what is Thai culture, or what is Thai tradition, is the power to make those definitions is a terrifying one, indeed. I think that questions, there are no further questions. And so I wanted to ask if the three of you had anything else you wanted to say before we closed. It's okay if you don't, but I wanted to ask.
อาจารย์เบนก่อนก็ได้ครับหรือบิ๊กก่อนก็ได้
I don't have anything to say. I have told all I want to tell right now. I just want Khanun come out as soon as possible, and I want anyone try to talk about this topic, because I don't want people to forget all about topic, because this topic could be faded day by day because of political issue conflict in any terms. So we need to keep talking and connect this topic together, connect political conflict with political prisoner. It's the same topic, even it look like it's not, but it's the same. Yeah.
Yes, and also connecting to what Big just said. I think we have in China, we have election, we have civilian government for a couple of years now, and we should aim to look forward to political transition to full or better democracy, full democracy, genuine democracy does not exist, but to better democracy. And part of that process to make this political transition, I think there's a proposal for amnesty of political activists. There had been thousands of legal cases against those who participate in the pro-democracy movement in the last 4 years. And part of the act that would help the society to move on is to give amnesty to those political detainees and not only detainees and prisoners, but also those who face charge. And if that's something that the society need we need to get a buy-in from the society if we really want to move forward. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you for all of us who being here today, and I think it's very important to monitor not only Khanun's case, but also those who are in jail, those are whose case are kind of finished because the condition is not that good, and maybe I have heard that some of them has been relocated to a new facility, and they were brutally beaten up, and I think we have to look closer to every single cases. And of course, even though we have many organizations look closer to this case as well, but we cannot leave it behind, leave it for them to be, you know, their work. It's our job, our common practice to realize that they are still in jail, and they still wait for us to maybe, you know, drop them somewhere, give them very short letters, you know, short sentence, anything that would cheer them up. This is the best we can do, even. And hopefully in the future we can talk more about the issues and why the court, we can throw the question directly to the court, why the right to bail is really limited and cannot be granted, especially in Khanun's case.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kitty Chai, Ajahn Bandit, Ajahn Ben. And I just want to end with the simple statement of calling for the release of Khanun, Anon, get all of the political prisoners, and an end to political trials, and for amnesty to be granted to all. I would say to all except the military. I don't think the military should be amnestied. that's for those who have launched coups should not be granted amnesty. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing your perspectives, and for continuing to say Khanun's name, continuing to talk about political prisoners, and to, in a sense, to be making noise in what sometimes feels like a sea of silence. And so stay safe and well. And I will hope to see everyone either again on a screen soon or in person as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Terrell.
Thank you, everyone, for hearing.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.